Hey folks, this is Tony. Just got a request here from John Bowling, and I happen to be sitting at my PC, so I'm going to go ahead and make a quick video in Fusion 360 for how you would want to set up a wasteboard with regularly spaced holes, so you can put inserts in them. So this is a real quick project. I figured I'd just throw it up here and see who can help. I had my layout grid turned off, so I turned that back on. This is my default workspace. Nothing created yet. So I'm going to start with a rectangle. Just select a plane and draw a rectangle. First thing I'm going to do is change my document settings. I'm going to set it to inches. That'll make things a little easier to sort out. So I'm going to use my dimension tool for the rectangle I've drawn, and I'm going to click on the left side, and I have an XXL, so maybe I want to make a 30-inch by 30-inch wasteboard. So I'll type in 30 inches there, and I'll click on the top line here, drag up a little bit, and type in 30 inches here. So I've now created a 30-inch by 30-inch square. This would be the size of the piece of wood you've already cut in this example. I'm not going to show how to mill that down because it's pretty much the size of the full bed. If you then click inside of that sketch on the sketch, you can right-click and extrude. And I'm going to extrude it 0.75 inches. I'm assuming a 3/4 inch wasteboard. You would obviously, if you had a 1/2 inch wasteboard or an inch wasteboard, you'd set it to whatever you want. So there we go. That's going to be my wasteboard. Now the obvious question then is, how do I create these circles so they're regularly spaced? You could, let's see, so we're going to create a sketch on this face. I just clicked the sketch button, click that face, and now I'm sketching on the top of the wasteboard. Now, if I wanted to, I could draw a circle, come down here, say, okay, I want it right here. I want it 9 millimeters in width for the drill bit I'm using, and then draw another circle, come over here, I want it 2 inches away, and say 9 millimeters in width, and draw a bunch of circles. But let's face it, there's going to be like 250 circles. Nobody wants to do that. So I'm going to hit back. I'm just going to leave it at one circle. And I'm going to click on that circle and say extrude. The extrude menu pops up. And where it says extent, instead of distance, I'm going to select to object. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. And we'll select the bottom of the board and say OK. And there we go. I've got a circle that I've created that goes all the way through. So now I've got a hole through my wasteboard. And I want to go back and create a sketch on that. So this is my same drawing, same object. Just for whatever reason, it decided to turn it on me. But this is my board that I'm gonna make. But now I have this hole all the way through it. I'm gonna go to Sketch. And I'm going to choose rectangular pattern. And rectangular pattern is exactly what it sounds like. It's going to make a pattern of selected objects in a rectangular shape. So you select your distances and that kind of thing, and you just use that to create recurrence of the same item in a rectangle. You can do circle if you're like I did the dust up. You did lid. I did circular pattern for the bolt holes. So here's my rectangular pattern. Objects. The object is going to be your circle that you want to create. Not exactly sure what suppress does. That's okay. So you tell it how many you want to do and a distance. So in this case, with something like inserts into a wasteboard, the quantity I don't know yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to need 3 or I'm going to need 30. It's probably somewhere right in between that. But for now, I'm just going to not worry about the quantity, and I'm going to choose distance, and I'm going to say I want them 2 inches apart. Okay, so my spacing for my holes, and that's, if you hover over it, you can see. It should show me. Nope, it's not giving me a tooltip here. That should be the spacing in between, I believe, each hole. Maybe not. I just did this recently. Nope, that's the total spacing. So I want to go 29 inches over. More than an inch off the side. Yeah, I'm about 1.5 inches off the side. So 30 minus, yeah, I want to go about 27 inches. Get it nice and evenly spaced. So there we go. I've got it set at 27 inches, and it says 3 holes. So you can see it's got 1, 2, and 3. So now I can just change that and say maybe I want 15 holes across. If I can type the 1. And it'll show me what it's going to draw. And then on this one, I would type the same. I want 15 holes, and I want it to go 27 inches. Now you can see it went the wrong direction, so I need to select which direction I'm going to go. I believe I do that by clicking. Let's see. Oh, right here. So yeah, you can just type in a -50 or -27. The opposite direction. There we go. So I have an array now of 15 holes in each direction, 27 inches total. So I'm 1.5 inches off of the walls. Personally, I would probably change this. So let's go ahead and cancel. Before I do the actual extents, I'm going to decide, you know what, I want to go back and change that hole. I want to fix the spacing of that because I just kind of randomly drew it. So I'm going to go back to this previous sketch. I'm going to right click and choose Edit Sketch. I'm going to add a dimension real quick and say I want it 1 inch off of this wall. I want it 1 inch off of this wall. So just mentioning that, now it's nice and square 1 inch off of each side. Stop sketch. Click forward to my sketch where I'm going to do the pattern. Go to Sketch, Rectangular Pattern. Select that object again. Now I want to go 28 inches. It's going to be, minus an inch on each side. I want 15 of them. And then for my other direction, I want 15 again and -28. And there we go. So however you want to do it, as far as spacing, quantity, that kind of thing, you just type those in, play with it. Symmetric does it in both directions. You wouldn't really want that in this case. And say OK. And it creates all those holes. So now I have, what would it be, 245, I think. My math is right. 25. So I have 225 9mm holes. Great. So there's my spoil board. Now I need to switch over to the cam view. So go to Model Cam. Again, in our setup, you're going to click New Setup. Operation Type Milling, Orientation. Just like last time, I'm going to say Z-axis. Click the top, X-axis, I'm going to click. It really doesn't matter because it's all symmetrical, but just so it's oriented the way I think it should be, that side. And I'm going to say stock box point. I did click over there. It's not showing me my stock box points yet. Sometimes it, for whatever reason, doesn't. In this case, my stock is going to be exactly the size as this. So I'm going to leave it at relative box size and just say 0 all the way down. Now if we click back over to setup, it should let me select. Oh, I had the wrong thing selected. Here we go. So now I've selected my my origin as one of the corners. So z-axis, I just selected the top face, x-axis, the right face. I set my stock to be the exact size of my board and selected the top of this bottom left corner here. I'm going to say OK. So now I have my stock set up. So the only operation I'm going to need to do here is to cut out all those holes. Okay, I'm going to be up front here. The best way, the right way to do that is with a drilling operation. So you would click drill. You would want to use, in this case I did 9 millimeters, you would want to use a 9 millimeter drill bit. That's the ideal way to do this, and it's the proper way to do it. I don't know about you, I don't have a 9 millimeter drill bit, and I also don't have a 9 millimeter collet for my Shapeoko router. So that's not going to work for me. What you can do instead, and it's not good for your end mills, but you can do this, is to go to 2D options and click circular. I would use 1/8 inch or a 1/4 inch end mill. Either one technically would work. Wait, I'd probably use the 1/8 inch. I think 1/4. Yeah, a 1/4 inch is about 6.35 millimeter. Exactly. Yeah. So that would technically work, but I think the program is going to bark at you if it's quite that close. But you could try it. Here, let's just go ahead and do it. It would go a lot faster if you could. So 1/4 inch flat end mill. Say OK. Your entire cut at this point is, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be doing a little bit of circular motion, but most of it is gonna be ramping or plunging. So when you do your feeds and speeds for this, you know, whatever you do them at, if it's 75 inches per minute, you know, go pretty conservative on your ramp and your plunge. I'd do something like maybe a 33 inches per minute. You know, don't take that as gospel. Use whatever your end mill you use would call for. And then circular face. That's where you choose your hole to drill. I thought there was a way you could optimize it. Oh, I never extruded those. Okay, so we're gonna hold off right here. Little minor detail. Gonna go back in and edit this sketch. Oh, I'm already editing that sketch. I never finished it. So if you have this large number of objects like this, you can actually just click and drag to select them all. And I missed just a few down here. So I'm gonna hold down Control, select these last few holes here that I missed. I'm going to right click and extrude. Again, I'm going to go to 2 and select the back of it. Little minor detail I forgot. And there we go. Now I have 225 holes through it instead of just a sketch of some circles. Back into cam, 2D circular. Not sure the difference between bore. But I've used circular to good success. So again, select your tool. I'm gonna gamble that the 1/4 inch is gonna work. You can see it's a good portion of the size, so that probably isn't the best choice. And let's see if I can. Nope, I can't click and drag. I thought there was a way to apply it to all of them. I saw somebody post a trick for how to do that, and I'm not finding it. Might have been a plugin. I think it was. But you'd go through and click on all of those. Under geometry, so just gotta click each face, I guess, without that plugin. And I'll see if I can dig that up or find the video that shows how to select them quicker. But it's not too horrible. You just gotta left click on each one. Heights, again, this is your retraction height, top of the model, all of that. Honestly, for this operation, you're not going to need to adjust it as long as you set your Z height correctly, and you're not holding this down with anything other than like tape. If you're holding it down with anything that the end mill is going to run into, you need to change really your retraction height is the key. Passes. Okay, so this is where we get into here's how we are going to bore these out. Drill down into them. You're going to want to set a maximum roughing step down, and I would probably go with something like 0.1 inches. So it's going to do 1/10 of an inch, clear it out a little bit, and then it'll actually pull back up in between each one, which is pretty handy. And then really that's it. There's not much else to this. You're not going to want to use stock to leave. You could use even step downs and set a more generous step down distance. I wouldn't. Direction, climb or conventional, that's going to be up to your end mill and how you're doing your calculations. Either is fine on that. I'd probably use climb for something like this on the Shapeoko. Repeat or multiple passes, that's a way to clean it up a little bit. So you're not doing the whole entire hole at once. I wouldn't use that for something like this. So you're going to leave it where just you need the multiple depths and some reasonable roughing step down. And you're going to say OK. And now if we click on our setup and simulate, and I want to enable my stock so I can see my stock. Turns to that nice green color. And I want to change my tool path to tail. If I hit play, you're going to see it's going to go, and it does something called tap drilling automatically. So it's going to, you can see here in the video, I hope, that it's actually going in and out each time. So it'll clear out all that sawdust and everything each time it goes. and it'll just go through each one. It'll optimize its order as it goes. That was one of the options there. I believe it's the default. Yeah, optimize order is checked. So it'll figure out, as you go through and select more of these, it'll figure out the best pattern to go through. Really, that's all there is to doing a wasteboard. Now, if you wanted to add a chamfer to that, though, you would do the exact same process. You would create a circle, sketch on this top plane, draw your circle, and do it at 12 millimeter distance, or whatever it's going to be, 12.5 probably. In your chamfer, and I drew that on the bottom. I'm sketching on the bottom of it. Start a sketch instead of just drawing a circle would help. And 12.5 millimeters. There we go. Now I got a circle on the top of it. I'm going to right click, extrude. I want a 2 millimeter chamfer. And you would, oops. First of all, I want to do negative. And I'm in inches, so I got to manually type in millimeter. There we go. So there's my chamfer I've added in through software. And then you would go sketch. Create a new sketch. Sketch rectangular pattern again. Select that outer circle and type in the exact same settings as you did before, 28 inches, and you want 15. 15 inches, and it'll be, that's the way I decided to orient mine. So now I've added a chamfer to that. Now if I go back over into CAM and I generate my toolpath over again, you're going to see it's not going to cut. You would have to go through and extrude that chamfer on all of them. But you can see on this one, so that would be, before I do that, in the model, you'd have to go through, select each one, and extrude, select them all, and then extrude a negative 2 millimeter. So you would have to select all of those. I'm not going to do that to keep the video short. Under CAM, then, if I generate this toolpath and simulate it and start, you're going to see it's not going to recognize that top hole. It's going to move on without doing that. So what you actually have to do is select that that geometry as well. So you have to select both. And it didn't want to do it. Let's see what warning. Tool doesn't fit, it would gouge. So it doesn't like that. So if I select that one, get rid of it, say OK. What you may have to do is the second circular. I'm actually going to move. Yeah, I can't move it yet. Same tool is automatically selected. I'm going to select just that chamfer and say OK. Now I'm going to move that up. So now the new one with just the chamfer would be first. Now I can quickly select. So I would select all of the chamfers and run those. And it would run through and do all the chamfers, and then it would do all the holes all the way down through. So at that point, you'd be done. You'd drive your T-nuts or your inserts if you're using the Easy Lock inserts. Flip your board over and bolt it down. You might want to, as you're doing this process, go ahead and add some bolt holes to hold it down or whatever. But anyway, that would be pretty much it. And then once you're done, post-process, change the comment. Make sure Carbide 3D is selected and hit post. So hopefully that's helpful on how I would do a wasteboard and have nice evenly spaced layout for exactly how many holes in each direction you want. If there are any questions, feel free to add them in the comments and I'll keep an eye on it and answer them as I can. Thanks. And thanks for watching.